Hey everyone, I'm Alyssa, an Indianapolis Colts cheerleader for the 2024 season, and this is Believe in Colts.
Welcome back to Believe in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen with my guy, Donald Thomas. And today, hey, Victory Monday. Ain't got to say that. And it seems like a minute now. And the Colts did not start off 0-3 in their own division, squeaking out a win there at the final quarter against the Titans in Tennessee. Give me your lowdown of what you thought, how that game ended up turning out.
I was nervous the whole game, but the fourth quarter was very promising. I saw the momentum start to shift. I'm just glad they're not 0-3 in the division. That would have been detrimental. So keep hope alive, 1-2. Just keep focusing and keep stacking wins, especially divisional wins. But none the least, guys made plays when they had to, and we'll get into it. But there were some guys on offense that stepped up and played well. There's still some glaring problems a little bit, but nonetheless, a win is a win. In the NFL, it's a great Monday to be able to celebrate a win.
Yeah, the majority of this game, if you were betting with Colts, man, you're picking the under on a lot of stuff, passing yards and rushing yards and all sorts of stuff. Passing yards for the Titans. And speaking of betting, every matchup, every stat breakdown, even lines, odds, and spreads to bet on during the games, with the largest catalog of odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL to NBA. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything sports betting. Head to the website today, get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. BetOnline, the game starts here. And as I said, there wasn't much really. I mean, everything was pretty much on the under except for maybe the rushing for the Titans. The Colts, their run game was absolutely not there. We were able to get some points on the board. I was very happy that for the most part, it seemed like Shane Steichen decided to take points where he was able to get them, except that one attempt for a really long field goal. I was a little upset about that. Even though we did get the first down, I still felt like he should have went ahead and took the field goal at that point. But, we still won the game. I'm very happy about that. What were your thoughts? Why is the Colts running game just doesn't seem to be there right now?
There's a lack of continuity along the running game. Your starter is not in there to make him look good. I don't think Ryan Kelly was 100% coming into this game. I think he was forced and thrusted and he felt obligated to come back and play, and it clearly showed. Simmons was a terror in there, and a lot of it was, not all of it, but there were some times where he literally just stood up Ryan and put him in the backfield and made a play, or straight bull rush and forced Flacco to throw a bad throw. And that interception was because he saw that pressure. He saw Ryan Kelly's back coming right towards him. He had to get rid of the football. So, but that's the pass game. But it's just lack of continuity, man. It's lack of point of attack. When you look at it from a offensive lineman standpoint, the firing off the football is not there. It's more of just like step and catch and try to position block guys. And it just wasn't there, man. They just got out physical for real up front. And that was one of the things that when we started, it was glaring to me for this game. When you take away the long run by Goodson for 33 yards, I mean, we're looking at, 47 yards rushing on the day, and the NFL is not by any stretch of the imagination going to win you football games. So, coming down the line here, they're going to have to run the ball a lot better to beat some of these better teams in the NFL. I mean, this was the Tennessee Titans, and there's a reason why they're, 1-4, because they got some issues as well. But, they still got guys over there that can play. And so it showed, just because they're 1-4 doesn't mean that they don't have guys that they have a good D-line. And we said that last week, they had a good D-line. The coach, offensive line has to figure out, who's going to be the guys in there. How do we, make the run game better so that it better suits them. But right now it's rough.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. You was talking about taking away that one big run by Tyler Goodson. Goodson, he's kind of, when you ain't got Jonathan Taylor in the game, you got to rely on Goodson for speed. Sermon is that patient power back, and Goodson is your speed back. And the biggest issue, in my opinion, is we didn't utilize the speed to its full potential when Goodson was in there. We kept seeing right between the tackles every single play. There was no stretch runs. There was no toss sweeps. There was nothing of that nature to utilize, our perimeter blocking that we had as well, to utilize the speed that Goodson had. I'm going to point in on what I figured was a really bad decision play calling by Steichen when we were first and goal from like the 3-yard line, right? Mm-hmm. 3 runs right up the gut. What makes you go off and decide we're going to run it up the gut when we're averaging 1.8 yards a carry outside of that one big run that you're talking about? And we're not – the Titans know that they can stop the run. They know what's going to come, and we can't get any push. I didn't like that at all. That all 3 plays right there. I thought, man, that was bad decision making in my opinion.
Yeah, that comes from a pride standpoint, from a play calling decision. I figured, I was like, all right, we got stuffed the first time and they're getting juiced up, and they stuffed you the second time and it was worse than the first time in my opinion. I'm like, all right, this next time all right, play action, throw the football, or just, get the ball, fading in the end zone, something tight end, get them open, whatever. And it wasn't that. And so, yeah, it wasn't there in the middle. You got a speed guy. You want to try to get him to the outside, get him some outside zone runs, get him some toss sweeps, something of that nature. Change up your formation, get in a bunch formation, have everybody block down, get around the outside. That's where I would have gone when I'm trying to utilize a speed guy. Yeah, now he did break a run. There was a big run, and it was, inside zone. And he hit that thing and he got some yards. But, like, besides that, though, man, it just was not there in between the tackles. This was a game where you got big guys in the middle. You got big, strong guys in the middle, and that's their game. You play right into their hands, and it shows in the stat line, right? I mean, pretty much I'm saying 47 yards rushing when you take away the one big run. It's not going to get it done. And, those guys are going to wear down and get tired. They're going to give you a play or two. So that was that play or two, that 33-yard run where – you're going to have those in the league. You're going to have those. You got to control the bleeding. And I think the Titans did a good job of controlling the bleeding against the run, right? Like, that's a win. Like, if my defense gives up 80 yards rushing in a game, like, hey, you guys answered the call when it came to stopping the run. You stopped the run. They averaged 2.9 yards rushing per attempt. Like, not good, right? Mm-hmm. Not good.
No. So here we go. We talked about the running game. And, we talked about this. Look, the Titans defense is just good, right? This is just a very solid defense. They haven't given up a 40-plus yard play all season. And, we didn't get that 40-yard run. That was close, but not quite. And then you had Joe Flacco. He took his shots downfield. A couple of them, at least one of them that I know for a fact was a little bit ill-advised. That one to Pittman where he had a guy under and over him. There was no way he was making that completion. But, and I'm surprised it wasn't intercepted, in all honesty. But he did take a shot to Alec Pierce in this game. Just overshot him just a hair. There was that PI penalty on that situation. He finished the game 22 of 38, 189, 2 touchdowns, and that one interception that was, again, under pressure and threw the football, and he shouldn't have threw that one either. Those were the 2 plays that he really shouldn't have thrown. I almost say he shouldn't have threw that touchdown pass to Michael Pittman Jr. because it sure looked like, to me, a prayer ball that was just answered by Michael Pittman, right, at the end of the game.
Yep. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, you threw it up to him because you know that he can make a play, and you're expecting your great players, your good players on the team to make a play when it's time to, and he made a play, man. Like, that's why you paid him, right? That's why you paid him to have those 2 big catches in the game to, really, like, that the other touchdown that he had, like, I'm saying, like, he stepped up and made some plays. Like, it's time for them to like. And there's no knock on AD Mitchell. There's no knock on Josh Downs. Like I think Josh is an emerging number 2 receiver on an NFL team, and right now we're seeing them get better. But to put that onus on him to become the number 1 receiver right now is not it. Like you have to, like I was listening to a lot of people talk yesterday about, just like the commentators and stuff like that after games. You got to get your playmakers the ball early in the game, right? You can't just expect them to be, quiet all game and then just have to show up. And so, it kind of was the opposite of that, right? Like Michael Pittman has been quiet the whole game. Then he just, erupts and has like, a monster second half, fourth quarter, but you want to get him going early in the game. You want to get him some touches, target him, get him easy passes, just let him get going. Let him make some plays on his own. Let him get some yak after he catches the ball. I'm saying stuff like that. But I feel like the precedent is, like Josh is our best playmaker right now as far as in the passing game, and they're trying to get him the ball as much as they can. But I think they're forgetting about who the real guy is in the room. And so we think he is, and he showed that he still is, and he's going to make a play for you when it comes. But it'll be interesting because the pass game, to me, when you look at it as like your tight end had one of the longest catches of the day with Mo Alley at that 22-yarder. It's like, it's who else, right? Like he's not the deep threat. Yes, it was a great play they designed, and he got the ball. He made a good catch and all that kind of good stuff. But like there's guys that should be getting the ball a little bit more and get targeted a little more, in my opinion. But I'm not the quarterback, nor am I the coordinator.
Yeah, we did have a couple. I mean, our tight ends were utilized a little bit more. Andrew Ogletree had a couple catches and missed one. Mo had those 4 catches. Granson had a pass that was just out of his reach as well. I thought the tight ends did a fairly decent job in this game. We're going back to Michael Pittman Jr., and this is a guy who legitimately this time last week, we all thought he was going on IR. Right. And then next thing you know, he's practicing going out there and catching game-winning touchdowns. Asked after the game, what Joe Flacco thought of Michael Pittman Jr. And he's like, he's one of the toughest guys that I've ever played with. And that says a lot considering, I mean, the amount of years he's played, especially with the Baltimore Ravens, which is known to be, having a lot of tough dudes, especially on defense and offense. So.
Yeah, I mean, but that goes back to what I said last week, right? Like you can't look at these injury reports; they're complete BS. We don't know what's going on in the locker room, in the facility, in the training room, and so you're required by the NFL to put out whoever has a bang, whoever's nicked up. You come in that training room, you're on the injury report if you have something from that previous game or something lingering or something happens. And you know what I'm saying? Like you put a guy, you say, back or whatever, and he's, questionable or he's out, he's doubtful. Like, what do you want us to think, right? Like, what do you think the opposing team's going to think? Like, they're getting the same injury report. Like, they're like, and it's all game plan. It's all like, their number 1 receiver's out. So this is what they have. This is what they can do. And this is what they're going to focus on. And they're not going to be in this because they can't. And so, like, it's all BS. So you have to just wait till Sunday morning, Monday evening, or Thursday night to see who's actually suited up, who's actually going to go. Because, man, I've seen it. I've seen guys be out or doubtful or whatever, or just put them on the injury report just because they got like a little sore thumb, and then they're still going to play on Sunday, right? Or you see a guy that's still practicing, right, and he's out there and the media sees him at practice, but he doesn't do anything after the media leaves. Right. And he's practicing, but he ain't going to play on Sunday. And they know that. Right. And so they're trying to fool with the other team as far as game plans go. So I was super surprised when I saw him. I was like, oh, I thought we were saying he was going to be out for 4 weeks or something like that. And then here he is, making plays in the fourth quarter, jump balls and catching touchdown passes and emerging, to kind of help take over the game. So crazy.
Absolutely. One guy that I thought really helped win this game also, not just the Michael Pittman catch, but Rigoberto Sanchez. Let's talk about that punt, dude. Let's talk about
Rigoberto.
that. Oh my goodness. He
put it in
earned
there, though,
his
didn't he?
paycheck on one kick, didn't he?
He put it in there, boy. I tell you what, like that was a beauty right there. Like when you needed a directional punt, down there, just perfect bounce, everything. Like I don't know how easy it is to do get the bounce, like make it like I don't know if that's something you kick it off the side of your foot a little bit or spin it. I don't know, man, but it was just a perfect punt. Gave him great field position, backed him up. That was when you needed a punt like that, he gave it to you. And that's what you're paying the guy for. That's why it's so hard to be a kicker in the league, because you could do nothing all game and then you got to win the game or make a play or do something to contribute, and you could be out of it 95% of the game. So hats off to him, man. Like that's why, the three phases are so important. And, he did what he was asked to do. He made a play.
Yeah. That play was so impressive. Let's just put this in perspective. The NFL at that time, all these 1:00 games going on, and the NFL took time out to post that as a highlight play on their social media. That a punt, right? That says something about how impressive that punt was.
Yeah. Let's
flip over to the defense. I want to talk about Will Levis and his day. Will Levis coming into this game. 68% completion percentage. He came into this game. He left this game under 60% completion percentage, right? And not just that, but under 100 yards passing. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was 16 of 27 for 95 yards. Wow. Now, I'm curious, do we put, his performance, do we put it on the players on the Colts defense? Do we put it on Will Levis and the offense of the Titans? Or do we give a little bit of credit maybe to Gus Bradley and the fact that he blitzed a whole lot more in this game than what we normally see from him?
Okay, so Will Levis is Will Levis. And you stomach that, you can right? So from Gus Bradley's standpoint, I'm going to make him be even more Will Levis-like if I add pressure to his situation. Like, he's an NFL quarterback. If I don't apply pressure, he can have a day if it's given to him. He can throw the football around the field. But when you have to make him run, move, feel pressure, all the above, he's going to give you Will Levis-like plays. And that's what we saw from Will Levis on Sunday. And I've been saying that. I don't know, I may have said it last week, but Will Levis is not it, in my opinion. Like he's still like he's probably one of the more struggling quarterbacks out of that class. I mean, you look at, there's a guy that's not even playing anymore in Carolina, but Will didn't go first round for a reason. He's been thrusted into the starting position because of his draft status, but he was a guy that would have benefited from sitting and learning and being behind a veteran quarterback and not in this position that he's in. So his career is going to be shorter than what it probably could be. But you saw it from before. Remember I told you the first week when Will Levis was making plays and his coach checked him, like, what are you doing? Don't ever do that again, blah, blah, blah. Like, so, I don't know, man. He's I think it's a little bit of both. I think Gus took advantage of what was given to him. He knew that if he got after Will, that there would be a game like this to be had, and it was had. I mean, the kid threw for 95 yards in an NFL game. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I also
still came close to winning the game with only 95 yards passing.
Right. So there's right. And this is what I'm getting at, right? So he had a game like that. So it goes to Gus for designing a game to get after him, right? But then there's also the play calling on the Titans as well, because Calvin Ridley, correct me if I'm wrong, sounds like a $92 million contract, and the guy's got 1 reception for 9 yards, right? Like you're not even trying to throw to this dude, right? Like this is a guy that could be a game changer along with DeAndre Hopkins, and like you're not even utilizing them. Like like this kid. I think the stat line was 4 or 5 receptions in the last 5 games. Right. So like you're not getting your playmakers the ball when they need to have the ball. So, it goes both ways, right? It goes to play call and it goes on one side of the football on the Titan side. and the Colts side for doing a good job of pressuring a guy who is prone to turn the ball over, make bad decisions, make bad throws. You know what I'm saying? So they got problems down in Tennessee. They got some serious problems. You think we have some quarterback dilemma issues, something, talk about? They got some things to talk about. I will say this, though. In my opinion, the Colts were given this game. And I'll say that because Tennessee is a very undisciplined team. Tennessee,
I'd say 11 penalties for 113 yards goes to that.
There you go, right? So you don't deserve to win a game when you have those bonehead plays. You have DPIs, you have holding calls. You had that tackle that filled in. This kid had 2 false starts and a holding call back to back damn near. Like, you're giving the game away when you guys are up. You're giving them first downs when we probably should have been punting the football. So yes, we took advantage of those things, and those things are going to happen. But when you look at it from, we're rushed for 80 yards. We passed for less than 200 yards. Like, we had 0 sacks on the day, if I'm not mistaken, right? We had no sacks. Like,
we had a few quarterback hits and a lot of hurries, but no one ever got home.
Not like how we used to get after the quarterback, right? Like, when you look at the stat line, just on our stat line, right, you'd be like, oh, you guys won the game too? Like, hats off to that, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Then you look at their stat line, you're like, geez. Like, they play like dog, but they were up. What happened? What transpired? If I don't look at the stat line, all these penalties and bonehead plays, the Titans gave away the game. And that's why they're a 1-4 football team, because all those kind of things happen. So, like, when I look at it, like, I'm glad the Colts got a win. They took advantage of the penalties, you know what I'm saying? But we still had issues of missed tackles, especially on that Pollard run, on that third and 19, I believe it was, for the touchdown. You know what I'm saying? There were missed tackles. I think somebody was out of their gap, because that gap was just like, it was like Moses parting the Red Sea right there. You know what I'm saying? So there's things that we got caught on that we still have to fix. They're fixable. That's the beauty of the game. They're fixable. And we'll get guys back and we'll get them healthy and all that good stuff. But the missed tackles is one thing that we have to work on, because it's costing us. And these teams, Tennessee's not a good football team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot that we still need to work on. Like you said, the run defense is just not there. They're averaging over 5 yards a carry in this game, and that's Tennessee, and that's Pollard. Now, no knock on Pollard. Pollard's, a former Pro Bowler over there at Dallas, and has played pretty good while he was a Cowboy. But I mean, our defense was supposed to be, good against the run, and we have not been, for the most part, outside of 2 games this year, good against the run defensively, and that's kind of worrisome. Now, obviously, losing a guy like DeForest Buckner for an extended period of time is going to affect that, because there's just no replacing a guy of that caliber. But we got issues. We got issues, and then not to even mention in pass defense, we got away with one there at the end. All right, I was going to say that Jalen Jones most definitely hooked the arm of DeAndre Hopkins there on that pass that should have been a first down.
I thought their coach was going to get thrown out the game. Like, he was livid. I mean, he was fired up, rightfully so, because the Titans got called for 2 DPIs prior to that.
Yep.
And it's like, you see this, and then like you look, and it's like, look at the replay, it's right there, and they're like not calling. And I'm like, well, hey, look, hey, I ain't saying, like, hey, look, we'll take it. But that was crazy to me, right? So, like, they did get one, like, where it could have changed the trajectory of this ball game, and we could have been like, easily could have, you never know what could happen. But easily could have gone the other way, and it could have been a different score outcome. So, yeah, I mean, but here's the thing: you can't leave it to the refs. You can't leave it to the refs, and every coach will say that, from youth football all the way through the pros. Like, you got to take the refs out of it. You got to go out there and just win a football game, and not let the refs dictate or determine how the game is going to end up. So, Tennessee did not do that. And when they needed a call, they didn't get it, and so be it. It's another loss on their belt.
I'm going to shout out Sam Womack, Samuel Womack, the guy that we picked up from the Niners on waivers. I think he's played pretty darn good football the last couple of weeks, making good tackles. For the most part, getting in there, making, pass deflections. I feel like we have a team that can play man coverage pretty good for the most part. Yet, again, we're a cover three team under Gus Bradley, but we do have some good man coverage guys. I get that Gus has been that cover 2, cover 3 guy all the way back since Seattle, all the way over to San Diego and a bunch of other places, because it was San Diego at the time when he was with the Chargers.
Yeah.
And then but at the same time, if you're seeing that your guys are playing better against the team, then utilize that. And in this game, I saw man coverage more, just like I saw more blitzing more in this game than what I'm used to seeing from Gus. And is this I don't know. I mean, because I normally don't see him adjust the way he adjusted in this game. And it's something that is surprising to me in a little bit, because you're just not used to seeing that. He's always been, I'm a die hard. We're going to go this route. 68% of the time we're going to play zone. I mean, I get at the end of the game, you had one down lineman, right? And 10 guys, 30 yards downfield. You expect that, there was only 12 seconds left in the game, and they were pinned all the way back there. But outside of that, I thought he, for the most part, he play called a very good and interesting game out of his normal wheelhouse. Granted, like you said, the run game was there for them. We weren't able to stop the run, but I think he did a pretty good job overall play calling. I thought he did better play calling in this game than Shane Steichen did on the offensive side.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe he heard you talking last year about, him being so predictable. I think this just goes to show you that these coaches, these coaches and coordinators are really trying to figure this out as far as, all right, something's not working. I got to swallow my pride and switch things up just a little bit to cater to the guys that I have, their strong suits, and what's really going to affect the game. Me being, bullheaded and staying in my, zone defense and sitting back and letting my guys up front rush the quarterback is not working, or it's not going to work with the guys that I have. I got to switch it up. So we're going to, play more man. We're going to blitz. We're going to try to help the front four out because they're not generating enough pressure on their own. So this is just to show you that he is game planning. He's not just saying, oh, okay, who we got next week? All right, cover 2 zone, whatever. No blitzing. We're just going to play it up front, play it. Hopefully they throw into, throw the ball right to us with us being in zone and let our 4 guys get pressure. We're not that team that we were last year just due to the injuries and the different personnel changes that we've had. So, I think that Gus is really showing his knowledge or his understanding or his expertise on how to call a defense and how to work with the guys that he has and to get guys to play to their strong suits. So I've been saying that all year so far. Like, you got to get guys to play to their strong suits. And if one thing's not working where it's cover 3 and it's you guys are getting burnt, like we didn't get burnt like that in the past game, right? We was no like just straight up, just wide open, just like, yo, where's the safety? What happened to the corner? Guys are on their man. Now, I can't say that for every matchup coming up here down the line. I mean, even next week with Tyreek Hill, I wonder who's covering him man to man. Are you going to put a safety over that? Like what's the game plan for that? Right? Like, what is it going to be? So, it's just great to see that Gus switched it up a little bit, understanding the layout of their offense and how to rattle them and get them to not work as effectively.
So this is a question to bring in your expertise as an offensive lineman. We talk about the defense not able to stop the run, and I was noticing something more and more and more as of late, that our defensive ends, especially when Laiatu Latu is in, they're sitting at the wide 9, right? They're way out there, and that's spreading out the defensive lineman, where you got a guy usually sitting at like the 3 and the 3 and the 9 and the 9. When you're an offensive lineman and you see the defensive line spread out so far apart, are you licking your chops? Does that look like something that you much rather run against something of that nature when you got a run play called than when the defense is sitting at, say, the 5-1-1-5 or
It's
something of that.
like a regular over under defense is a
Yeah.
lot different, a lot harder to run against than like a 4-2 defense. Like when you have like those wide nines and like a 2-3s or a 3 and a 2-2-I, it's you can get yards a lot easier. Like it feels clean when I come to the line of scrimmage because I don't feel like there's a head up 4 or 5 technique right there where we're constricted. Plus I got a 3 technique on that side. Like there's not much wiggle room. Like we really got to get on our guys and get these guys moved in order to get yards, as opposed to I got a guy all the way wide for that tackle. I know he's going to fan out to that guy, or it might be a tight end over there. They got the double team there. I'm by myself. Well, if there's a 3 technique on the other side, that means that there's a huge hole in this front side A gap. There's a huge hole in this backside A gap. All I got to do is control my guy, make sure that I get him walled off or push to the direction that we need to get to, because there's no combo block for me, right? The center is going to be free to get up on the linebacker. So right there, if we run downhill right there, we can get 3 to 4 yards.
And that's guaranteed. That's if there's not a broken tackle, right?
Correct, right? And I'm just saying falling forward, you can get 3 to 4 when you're getting – we usually you see that as a nickel defense where it's, like a third and 7-ish kind of deal where you want your guys outside to rush, and then you want you're trying to get your defensive tackles to get one-on-one matchups without a center sliding to help them in time. You can try to get that one-on-one matchup to create, pressure too. So, but when you're running the football, that plays right into it. Like I used to love running power against like a nickel defense because it's just not there. Like it's not congested. You don't have to worry about that end messing anything up. You can pull tight into the hole. You're going to get a decent double team. That the center is going to be blocking back. All those things are going to happen where you can just kind of rip, pull, get up on backers. It is. I don't think that Latu is a 9 technique. His body style is not a 9 technique rusher. I mean, he's not like one of those guys that can line up wide and just beat you with straight speed because he's a bigger body guy. Like you usually see like those more slender body DNs get off on those wide 9 techniques like that. So I think still trying to figure out what his strong suit is and how to play it. I think that he is a 5 technique that can create pressure with his strength and speed, as opposed to having to take 3 to 4 steps until he gets to the tackle. I think he's more of a 2-step guy, make his move. You saw more of that in the preseason than you do now, and that's why he's having a quieter game. And I think he's getting a little frustrated. He's getting a little antsy. I think he had that where he jumped in the neutral zone on one of those plays where he's trying to get off because he knows he's kind of at a little bit of a disadvantage on how he's being lined up and utilized right now. And he's a young guy, so he's got to do what's asked. But I think as the season progresses and you get guys back, I think you'll see him more in his strong suit of where he really should be playing at.
All right. So you're thinking 5, maybe 7 occasionally is where he best at?
At the widest, a 7 technique, because that's just, as the DM. But when you get to that wide 9, like Keith Vandenbosch was a guy, like when I was playing, that was like he would get – he would probably be like – if you had to put another number on it, 10 or 11, like he was out there, but he was angled in. He was firing off the football. He was a different breed of player. A 9 technique is not for everybody. Just because you play DN does not mean you could be a 9 technique. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you're going to see guys not be as effective, and he's still learning this level of football. So you put him at a position where he didn't play in college, ask him to do some things and be effective. Now he's being forced and thrust into the starter role. It's tough for that kid. He's learning, so you're not going to see him make as many plays as he probably should or could be playing. I think that in a passing down situation, a 3rd and long, I would like to see him slide into the 3 technique. But you got to get guys back and healthy. Him, Buckner, 3 techniques. You got Quiddy Pay out there. You could probably put put another edge rusher, speed rush on the other side. Maybe run a twist game. Maybe do something like that where you get guys get the linemen to have to move. You can free up a gap, get them wrapping around, something like that, where you see him more effective, or just straight up get him one-on-one with the guard. You know what I'm saying? Get him one-on-one with the guard, let him use his arm length, his speed, his quickness, and his strength on the guard, and see how that fares. But as a 9 technique where he's just kind of like running for 3-4 steps before he engages with the tackle. And he's got some moves, but he's got to learn how to utilize those moves from a 9 technique, from a stretched out there. So, guys it's an evolution for the whole season. And we're through the first quarter of football, and, guys are still learning their roles a little bit. You're asking guys to do a little bit of different things. This is how the game evolves throughout a season. And so, you're asking him to do some things that are non-traditional for him. And so they got to figure out how to best utilize him.
Any final words about the game or going forward?
Yeah. Happy for the win. Happy the Colts got the win. I think we both were close to what we predicted the score to be. I think did I say 21-17?
Something like that. I said 24-17. So
yeah. I think I said 21. Somehow I was getting 17. Yeah. So I think I've been Nostradamus of the Colts predictions right now. But no, in all seriousness, there's a lot of things that need to get cleaned up. And just like I was hearing a lot of stuff from Bears fans about, we might have found a quarterback. I'm like, you guys are playing Jacksonville, so relax. You know what I mean? But
we lost to them, so Jacksonville. So.
Yeah, but that's a whole different story.
That's our division opponent.
There's a curse. Like when I go, for the Super Bowl this year, when I go down to New Orleans, I'm gonna go and see a witch lady, and we're gonna get this curse lifted. I'm gonna bring a Colts doll, stuffed doll, give it to him. Like, hey, listen, lift it. You know what I'm saying? But no, in all seriousness, hey, we have a stretch here where we got some, you got some teams coming up that got some tough teams. You got the Vikings in a few weeks, Bills in a couple weeks. This is where we got to have everybody clicking on the right page and on all cylinders. And, so we got to clean it up. We got to figure out what's going on with Kelly now. I think it was his ankle when he came back out.
Calf, I think.
Calf. Something along those lines. You got to figure that out. You got to get him healthy, right? You can't force him back in this thing because you see what happens when a guy goes in, especially at that position in the trenches, and he's not 100%, right? Mm-hmm. As much as we all want him to be out there, he has to be 100. I know he feels obligated just because of, guys going down, and he was out, and he's got to come back, and they know how important he is. But, offensive line continuity is going to be big coming up here in these next few weeks, as well as still getting getting Jonathan Taylor back. That's going to be huge. I think he'll probably play this week, hopefully.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah. So, I think that our receiver question about, guys being healthy is kind of been debunked, right? You got guys doing jump balls and catch a touchdown. So, yeah, just keep figuring out. But, hey, look, who's the quarterback? Who's going we kind of skipped over this a little bit. This is the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room has just been sitting in the corner, just stinking it up, right? So, that needs to be addressed too. My opinion is you still roll with Flacco. You still roll with Flacco until it gets bad. Until you have to make a change, right? Hey, look.
See how Flacco looks with Jonathan Taylor, and see if that adjusts the running game, maybe. And because obviously our running game hasn't been there with Flacco at quarterback. So but Jonathan Taylor ain't been there either.
I'm about to say, but then he's been banged up as soon as Flacco got back, or got in there. So yeah, I just don't think you make a change right now to the offense. I think you stay where it's at. I think you get pieces back. I think you got to figure out the offensive line situation. The run game has not been where the run game has been because our O-line has been banged up. Our interior line has been, some moving pieces in there, whether that be guard at center, either right or left guard and center now. So it's we got to figure that out. We have to figure that's so important for our success. But as far as it goes, I think Flacco stays at quarterback until he gives that job back to Anthony Richardson right now. I don't think you make that decision or that change right now. This man's won 2 games in a row, he's won you what, 2 games? Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he lost last week, but won this week. He still played very well in that loss.
I don't count Jacksonville. As bad as it seems, I've as a former player, as all that, there's something going on with that. I'm half serious, but I'm 90% serious about that, getting the voodoo. I just don't feel like right now you go back to Anthony Richardson. No knock on him as far as I know he wants to be out there, he wants to play, and he feels like he's the guy, he's their future. But you gotta have some stability. You gotta have some stability when you have pieces out and you're trying to get, this season back rolling how you want it to.
All right. Yeah, that's the big thing for me right now is I want to continue to see the Indianapolis Colts get healthier week by week. 2 weeks ago we were decimated with injuries, offense, defense, all the way across the board. Now it seems like we're starting to get a few guys back trickling in here and there. We are losing a guy once in a while, but we're getting more back than what we're losing, which is good to see. I don't know what to expect from the Buckner injury. I know that this week is the end of he could legitimately come back. I don't expect it, not from the injury that I saw. I understand, 4 weeks is the end of IR. I know I'm not a doctor, but I have stayed at a Holiday Inn Express and, I just don't think that he's going to come back this week. Would love to see it, but that injury was so nasty.
Yeah, I don't think he comes back this week. I don't think this game is big enough. I mean, they're all big, but I don't think this game is big enough for him to come back this game. I think that expect to see him Bills or Vikings week where you really, really need him and you need him to be 100%. But, I'm not even looking at the injury report. I don't care what they say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be surprised if he does come back this week. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, those high ankle sprains usually take 6 to 8 weeks to really get.
Yeah, because I mean, as soon as you get back out there, you feel 100% and you tweak it just a little bit, you feel like you went back to square one. Yep. Anybody, you don't have to be an athlete to know you sprain your ankle, it feels good, and you roll it one time, you feel like you got to start back over, and it's not as bad as before, but you keep stretching those ligaments out, you're weakening it, so you really got to be smart with that. And then you don't want to go in the game. He's going if they put like one of those like hard casts on it, he's limited on how he can run, push off, all that kind of good stuff. I mean, he's still going to be, wrapped up tight and probably spatted and all that good stuff where his mobility is going to be down for even after he comes back. He ain't going to just come back and not have nothing on it like you should. So it'll be interesting to see, but I don't think that the Miami week will be the week where he comes back.
Me neither. All right, guys. Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share to your favorite social media, your friends, and your family. If you're listening to this on an audio podcast, man, leave a review. We'd really appreciate it, man. It will help get this out to more people. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Donald Thomas. This was Believe in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And as usual, go Colts.
Go Colts, baby.
Do you believe?